Hello, welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander, Director of Sales for Bona Adhesives.
And I'm Rob Johnson from Bona Training.
How are we doing, Rob?
Pretty good. I like that. You came in good and hot. We're back to normal.
Absolutely.
Wayne, I'd like to point something out right now.
Please do, Rob.
What do you think of this shirt?
I actually admire that. That's a good-looking shirt. I had one just like that, and it's a good-looking shirt. I like it.
Do you know what this shirt is?
No.
This is the Rob Johnson official. It is summertime vacation shirt.
Ah, short sleeve then, huh?
Short sleeve.
Very nice.
Yep. The laid back vacation look.
So you're gonna get a red look. I'm not gonna say tan because, you know
how it goes for us.
Yeah.
You know how it goes. We got two colors, red and white.
Did I tell you about my latest adventure?
No.
Rob, I swore off tanning booths. I thought I wasn't going to do it again. But I have to tell you, I went back one more time, right? So I told this lady, I want legs only, okay? Legs only. So I did the usual double dark Malibu legs only tan, okay? And I paid extra for the instant tan, okay? Sprayed my legs, get home, zero change, Rob. I mean, when I'm telling you there was zero change, like I don't have a tan line to say, well, you can see the tan line starts, because I just don't have any tan lines because I'm that white. So I was furious. I mean, so I go back there, right? Not only that, I left my glasses there. These ones, not these ones. Yeah, these ones that the click-ons. So I left them there as well. So I had to go back. And they're young kids working there. I go, look, I don't like to complain, man. I swear I'm not a complainer. But look at this. I mean, I got the double dark Malibu tan and I'm showing my legs and the girls are like trying not to laugh, right? I go, there's been no change whatsoever. So the one girl had the nerve to say, well, how soon afterwards did you take a shower? I said, come on, look at me. I would have to use a power scrubber. You know what I mean? Like they use on sidewalks.
The power washer.
Power washer to get this white. So she goes, okay.
The old days, we called them steam jennies.
There you go. So she said, okay, you can go again. I said, fine. I said, again, just legs only. I just want to do my legs. She says, she repeated it back, legs, okay? I get in there, Rob. This thing does from my head to my toe. All right. It starts. Well, the first time I get in there, I said legs only. It started at my belly button down, like I was 6'8". You know what I mean? Thank God there was no color, because what are you gonna do with that? So when I went back, instead of my legs only, it started spraying at my head all the way down. So after I made the first pass, I jump out, right? Because I don't want to do this. So now the front of me got a death tan and everything else got nothing. Okay. So I left mad and I left my glasses there again. So absolutely horrible experience. So if you look at the front of me, I look golden tan. If you look at the back of me, I look like I've never seen the sun in my life.
Why are you doing spray tans?
It's 4th of July. People were coming over. I just wanted my legs to look normal.
Jeez, you know what? Just next time, throw a pair of nylons on. Nobody will know the difference. Just ask Judy for some light brown nylons. Put those on if you're just going legs only. Don't worry about it.
You might be right. You might be right.
Go for that. Yeah. Who knows? You might like it.
People say, are those nylons? I go, no.
Yeah. No.
What are you looking? What are you talking about?
No.
Yeah. So that's your summer shirt. That's your vacation shirt.
That's the official on the floor hiatus shirt. Yes.
I'll be darned. Well, it looks good on you.
Oh yeah, thank you very much.
You look rested.
Like this shirt.
You look happy. You look rested.
No, I'm not happy and rested yet. It's gonna come. It ain't here yet. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I can't wait to tell Pauline you got another spray tan. I can't believe you're back doing that.
It's just so bad. I wrote a negative review.
How'd you look on the 4th, though, for your big party? Did everybody say, geez, you look like an Adonis?
No, I can't wear. I can't. What am I going to do with the back of my leg? Am I going to sit on the couch the whole time?
So what'd you go?
Because
Jeans,
so I had to wear pants.
long pants.
Yeah, yeah. So anyhow, so
Nice.
what do you think about this episode we're going to do, Rob? I think these are some pretty good episodes we're going to do.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it's time we get a little time off, but we're going to take a look back at some of our favorite episodes. And we got over 200 episodes, and
mhm.
there's a couple of good ones in there.
Yeah, I think so too, Rob. I like the ones you picked out. We'll go ahead and run those, and I think they'll be kind of cool. So I'm excited that we're doing it.
Absolutely. Enjoy, everybody.
Enjoy. Hello, this is Wayne Highlander. I'm National Sales Manager at Bona Adhesives,
I'm Rob Johnson with Bona Training.
and this is another episode of On the Floor. And Rob, today this podcast is going to be about taking care of your body. I,
I love
I,
that.
I,
That's
I, I totally get the irony of this whole thing.
Yeah. You and I
Uh,
talking about taking care of our bodies.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm sitting
That's
across from you.
perfect.
You're a mental and physical wreck. So, but I guess who else to learn from? I mean, if we were, both healthy specimens and what have you, I mean, you're not going to learn anything from those guys, right? You learn
Right.
from
Yeah,
our mistakes.
that's true.
Yeah, and I go listen to some health nut. Also, speaking of that, I want to applaud you from completely switching off McDonald's and going to Taco Bell.
Taco Bell's a lot cheaper. Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
more bang for your buck. You
Uh,
can buy dinner for the price of a stick of gum.
I've noticed. I can tell. You look good.
Thanks.
This trade is tough on the body. It's tough on all parts of the body. Between the two of us, we got like 80 years doing floors, I think. Um, so I think it's important to talk about this, especially for younger guys coming up, what have you. And I have always said that one of my biggest regrets in this industry is not taking better care of my ears.
What?
Yeah, exactly. When I'm in at a crowded restaurant or a room with a lot of other people talking, I can't hear. I mean, I hear a lot of noise, but I got to really be looking at you to be able to hear what you're saying. So consequently, I just nod my head a lot. I go, oh yeah, okay, cool, yeah, I get it. But I probably don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think most people are listening to you anyways.
Yeah, I get that a lot. So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to be mean. I'm
uh,
supposed to.
you got
I'm
the
supposed to be nicer to Wayne. So yeah, and I take that back. People are hanging on every word that you say.
you got the memo from Pauline, huh? Appreciate that, Pauline.
Stop being mean to Wayne.
Yes. My ears is probably one of my biggest regrets. Not taking care, using better ear protection and taking care of my ears because, you don't realize it when that's the thing about this trade. I mean, you think you're bulletproof until you're not, right? I mean, when you're young kids starting out, I mean, you don't worry about injuries and that kind of stuff, but things have a tendency to pile up on you. So I will say there's a lot of good ear protection out there. And it doesn't really count if you got ear protection, but underneath that, you got the earbuds on, you're cranking out Black Sabbath, which I've been known to do. But I would say definitely don't take these machines are running at very high RPMs. From the table saw to the big sanders, the edgers, everything that wind you hear and everything, that definitely will damage your ears over time. And I call it my biggest regret because it definitely has affected me over time.
One time, Pauline and her mother, when we were dating, they stopped over and brought lunch on the job. And Pauline's mother was a nurse. And as they left, Pauline's mother said to her, I can't believe they're not wearing hearing protection. You better buy him some hearing protection before that boy goes deaf. She couldn't believe how loud all the machines were and everything. And it was just one of those things, I don't know about you, but working with the old timers, man, if you wore any kind of safety equipment, they just couldn't wait to tease you and make fun of you and everything.
Oh yeah, I've said it before. I remember asking my uncle for some knee pads about after 8 or 9 months into it. And he looked at me in disgust, and he said, "What are you, one of those kids that wants to live forever?" I mean, that was the mentality.
Yeah.
And you think about the amount of time it would have took to put ear protection on, and it's just good habits, getting in habits. Don't take for granted your body because you only get one. So I would definitely my right off the bat I would say take care of your ears. It's important.
Well, that week later, my mother-in-law, well, back then she was the girl I was going out with, mother. She wasn't my mother-in-law back then.
At the time.
Yeah, at the time. She went out and bought me a pair of hearing protection. It was just like the kind of guys wear down at the airport outside. And they sat in a box for about a year. I never took them out. I had them in my truck, never took them out. And then one day I was edging inside of a closet, and I was like, this is pretty freaking loud in here. I went out, put those hearing protection on, and I never took them off as long as I was doing floors after that. Smart. I couldn't believe how great. The other thing about wearing the hearing protection, too, is you're less fatigued at the end of the day. It actually, you feel better just from not listening to all that noise.
Yeah, no question. Obviously it's an easy one. We're up and down. If you count how many times you're up and down, and you're up and down with tools in your hands and the weight, of the tools. And by the way, I mean, putting on weight too, really affects the knees. If I showed a picture to everybody of what my knee looked like after my last surgery, I think everybody would go out and get the best pair of knee pads they could buy. I feel the thing about the knees, when the knees go, you feel it every step you walk. Every time I walk upstairs or downstairs, every step you take, you feel it. Yes, they can do knee surgeries and all that kind of stuff, and they're better than they were in the past. But man, a good pair of knee pads is just a great investment. So it's even when we go to schools, Rob, I see guys, and to be honest with you, I don't even like watching football games anymore because all I think about the running back coming in is his knees getting hit. I mean, I've had 8 surgeries, so you tend to really appreciate what you didn't have. So
you've had how many surgeries?
8 knee surgeries, 6
8
and 2.
knee surgeries.
Yep.
Oh, they just weren't taken, or what was happening?
That would have been hard on the average man.
Are you that brittle that it just they just couldn't get it right the first time? Yeah. Were you going to a doc in the box, or
it's a long story.
Knees Are Us? Were you going to the Knees Are Us Medical Association?
No, listen, and I'll just tell you one of the stories because it's almost been a comedy of errors if it wasn't me. But one of the doctors that did my knees was the same doctor that did Barry Bonds and what's the guy, Jerry Rice, wide receiver for the Niners. And you can't be in better hands than that, right? The 3 of us studs. And then honestly, about a week and a half later, I'm on the couch and I'm in the rehab and I'm watching TV, and I'm watching the news, and there goes my doctor in handcuffs. And he, for 2 things. One, he was giving out steroids, which I could care about, but the other one was letting other people do surgeries under his name. So I don't know who did my surgery. I had a couple of young kids, maybe it was one of them.
Yeah. Well, they got to get their practice in. Somebody's a rookie.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah, and they figure this kid, but look, this guy's got no future. Look at him, redheaded.
He's not playing for anybody right now.
No. Yeah, just try on his knees first.
Right.
Respirators. Did you wear a respirator, Rob?
Well, I'll tell you a story about a respirator. We used to, back in the old days, we used to use a lot of moisture cure, and we were doing a bowling alley down the mall of this in Paramus, New Jersey, and it was a Saturday. We put 2 coats of moisture cure on. People who have been to this classes have heard this story. We put a couple coats of moisture cure on, and that night the shopping center turned off all the air handling systems. and all the moisture cure fumes went up inside to the top floor, the floor above us, into a pet shop, and we wiped out everything: snakes, mice, birds.
Like a rodent company too.
We just took everything out of that pet shop. Man, should we be wearing a respirator with this stuff? And he's like, no, you idiot. You need to start smoking. It burns all that out of your lungs.
Wow.
And I thought, that doesn't sound right. So
that's with your dad. That's with your dad's company.
That was my family business. Yep.
That
was the thinking. That was the thinking back then.
Yeah.
Burn it out of your lungs with cigarettes.
You know, I can actually visualize you as a kid working with your dad. About 8 years old, already about 120 pounds, riding on the front of the sander when your dad's going up and down with a 12.
So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to crack on my weight. You've lost a couple of pounds, so...
I'm feeling good about myself.
You know what? That whole thing about being nice to Wayne, that's out the window. That only took about 10 minutes.
But yeah, riding on the front of your dad's, eating a bag of Cheetos, throwing the Cheetos at the other workers. Your dad telling you, hey, what did I tell you about throwing Cheetos after we sanded with a 100 grit? You're going to stain the floor.
Look, all I was told to do was go
Papa.
get coffee. That's all. Oh, man.
Robbie, who didn't scrape the corners when I was gone? Give me that list you wrote down of the guys that didn't scrape the corners when I was on my estimate.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
All right. Names. I hope everybody's listening to this. Who's nice?
Respirators. We used to use an old wood filler called Coupon. I can say it because they're not in business anymore. It was a lacquer-based product. I remember going to the movies with my wife. And in the movie theater, it was a small movie theater, and the chairs were up real, like when you had the guy in front of you was almost on top of you, one of these old style movie theaters. And I was there with my wife, and the guy, I guess his girlfriend, they were young at the time, he would turn around and stare at me once in a while. And I whispered to my wife, I go, what's this guy's problem? And then finally they just got up and left. And I was highly insulted because I don't talk, me in movie theaters, I don't talk in movie theaters. That's a pet peeve of mine. And I thought, what's the matter with this guy? I'm trying to think of why was he turning around staring at me? And then why was he, they get up and left. So then I'm watching the movie, and I got my knee crossed, and I touched my foot. And I realized my feet smell like lacquer thinner. So that must probably what drove him off. But, when people would get in your van, like people that are not in the business, civilians, would get in your van. I took some guys on a fishing trip, and they go, man, how you driving this thing, man? The smell. So these things that, again, and wood is a carcinogen, right? And it's not enough to just get a respirator off the shelf. Make sure you're looking at the right respirators for the right chemicals that we're using. It's very important.
We got pulled over one night. My cousin, my buddy, and I, we got pulled over. We were working in New Hampshire, and my cousin was sitting on a lacquer 5 with a hole in it, and every time he went up and down, he was pumping the cab full of lacquer fumes, and we didn't know it. The windows were up, and we got pulled over for drunk driving. And when we rolled down the window, we were all laughing like hell. It was like a scene out of Black Sheep, the same thing. I remember seeing that scene thinking, man, they stole that from us. And as soon as we rolled down the window, the cop is like, what the hell is going on? He said, look, just follow me. Where's your hotel? Where are you going? We followed him to our hotel. He gave us like a police escort to our hotel and gave us a pretty good talking to about that. But, the other thing about respirators, with the respirator I like to wear, it's the big dual cartridge, and it hooks over your head and around your neck. To me, that was comfortable. And same thing with my hearing protection. The hearing protection, it's like the big, bulky ones that the guys at the airport use. If you look at my son, he wears all, complete opposite type stuff. Smaller, easier to maneuver, that type of thing. But that's what he's comfortable with. So whatever you're using, if you're not comfortable with it, you won't use it. You'll make an excuse not to wear this stuff.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is changing out the respirators. They don't last forever. I mean, put new cartridges in. A lot of times we'd put them in plastic bags, Ziploc bags, because if you sit them in the van, and the van has got all these odors of all these different products and smells and stuff, they're going to just keep picking stuff up. So
That happened to me. That same exact thing happened to me. We were pulling finish in this house, and I was like, my God, it stinks in here. I can't. And I was wearing a respirator. It stunk worse in my respirator than it did in the house.
Wow.
And that's because we were storing our respirators in right next to an open bucket of poly.
Speaking of movies,
those charcoal filters. Speaking of movies,
yeah.
Those charcoal filters, once you take them out of the foil pack, they're working right away. They're constantly working. That's why you got to put them in the Ziploc. Now, speaking of movies, did you see a good movie this week?
Yeah, I was going to tell you.
What'd you see?
I'm a huge movie critic. All right, and I happen to think most movies today are terrible. There's a lot of good foreign movies out there, but most Hollywood movies nowadays are absolutely terrible. But this was a movie. All right, it's a little fair warning. It's a little violent. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie, so you're going to get that. But once upon a time,
you said you saw Lion King.
No. Actually, I could see Lion King, I think. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, great movie. Great movie. One of the best movies I've seen in years.
What'd that cost you? Movies are expensive now. What'd that cost you?
Well, I pay regular ticket now. Well, you're asking me if I'm getting senior citizen tickets? My wife and I, when we used to go to movies, I'll tell you that, and I'm halfway ashamed of this, but, I blame it on Hollywood making terrible movies so I can justify it. So we were going to a movie one time, and it was raining outside, and there was a long line, and we were going to miss the beginning of the movie. So I said, I'm not waiting that line, Judy. I'm just not going to do it. And so we're walking off. I see a couple ticket stubs on the ground. I said, hang on a second. I pick up the thing, so we bypass the entire line. And this became my routine. This worked so good, and I honestly did this for 5 years without paying for a ticket for a movie. So we pick up the stubs. We go and order the biggest thing of popcorn you could buy, and I think they're like 64-ounce drink. Now, no human being should be able to drink 64 ounces in a movie, but that comes into play later. I'll explain that later.
When you're trying to take care of your body, too.
Well, yes, that came afterwards.
Yeah, right.
So I get the biggest thing of popcorn, and I get the biggest drink, and we always walk by the person taking the tickets like we were late for the show. Like, man, we just got no time for you. And I'd have my arms full, like I'm fumbling for the tickets. I don't know where the tickets are. And Judy would flash the bar side tickets of the codes, and we'd walk right through. And plus, we're old. They're not going to think, what kind of person would do that? So, I got a pet peeve with people talking in the movies, right? I mean, that's like, if I die, it'll probably be in a movie theater, because that's a problem. I don't like people talking in a movie theater. So what I would do with the Coke, I would take the Coke and pour half of it in the seat in front of me. I know how that sounds. But if anybody
You've just been banned from half of the movie theaters in the country just by saying that.
If anybody went to sit in that seat, I'm not a bad person. I'd say, hey, partner, that seat's wet. I try to sit there myself, so they didn't sit there. Just in case a tall guy would sit there, or, So that was our...
Or a talker.
Or a talker. Oh, well, that one I probably can't get into, but... Well, I will. And then I would actually go and tell them I was hearing impaired. And this is a little tip for people. If you say you're hearing impaired, they provide you, at least they did in California, with a set of, like a headset you can wear and watch the movie. I was never so happy in my life, because I would look around and see like people talking, whatever, but I couldn't hear them because I just turned up the volume of that, and I'm eating my popcorn, and the movie's free, and life's pretty darn good.
You weren't making a lot of money back then, though, were you? That was it. I get it.
It's not the point. If they would have made better movies, like the one, like I said, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, then I would have been happy to pay.
All right.
Okay, let's move on. Your hands. Not wearing gloves. Especially a lot of guys still wiping off stain. and we talk about thinner and paint thinner and all these different things on the hands that that absorbs into the body.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good for you.
It's another habit. It's another thing that you have to find comfortable gloves.
Yeah.
You have to find a set of gloves that you're not going to mind putting on and wearing.
Did you work with your palms on the floor or your knuckles on the floor?
Palms.
Okay. So my uncle had, like I said, he was a floor man for 50 years, and he worked with his knuckles down. So for a while, he used to tell me, don't work with your knuckles down like this. You'll get these big calluses like I do. So work with your palms down. And I did that until I used to have carpal tunnel syndrome a little bit. So then I would switch to my knuckles. And, come to think of it, they look pretty cool, the callus knuckles. So, go ahead and work with your knuckles on the ground. Don't wear gloves for installing because it looks cool. The big knuckles, that's a sign of pride, right?
You think so?
Yeah, so I think it's cool to go ahead and not wear.
You think the chicks dig that? Is that what you're doing?
I don't know if the chicks do, but when I see another floor, I go, yeah, dude, look at them guy's knuckles, man. That guy's been around a little bit.
So you like comparing knuckles with other guys?
Oh, that's one thing I can compare.
That's what you... Okay.
Yeah.
What about sunscreen? Anything there?
Well, you're talking to a ginger, so yeah. I mean,
That's why
we
I
don't
said
have to.
it.
We don't have that much issue with needing sunscreen inside the house. But did I tell you about the time I was a rep, and I just became a rep, and how we're in hotels every night. We're in a hotel. It seems like how many you talked about how many days you're on the road. It's one hotel after another. They all look the same. So we had a sales meeting, and you were there, Rob. It was in Southern California. I believe it was in San Diego. When the sales manager announced that instead of having to get hotels, we're going to rent a big house, which had a swimming pool. Which would, everybody was, oh man, that's fantastic. We're going to have a swimming pool. We don't have to stay in a hotel. But to the ginger, that means something completely different. That means I'm going to be outside with my white body with no tan, and I have to endure this, this ridicule. So
that's a floor man. That's a floor man's body.
Well, yeah, but that's,
you get the tan on the left arm because you're the driver.
I'm pretty white though, Rob.
Hey, you and I together, we're not white, we're clear.
So I told my wife, I said, we're staying at this house and it's got a pool, She goes, oh, I'll pack you some swimming trunks. I go, no. I said, I can't. I work with these 12 guys. I'll never hear the end of it. So she goes, well, you're being ridiculous. Just go have a good time. And she said, they make this this toner stuff you can put on your legs and stuff that turns them tan. So I told him, I said, well, what kind of man would put that on, Judy? I mean, I'm not going to use that. But when you're driving from Northern California to San Diego, it's a long drive. If you've ever taken that Highway 5, it's a long, lonesome drive, and your mind can start playing tricks on you, right? So I started thinking, well, you know what? Maybe I could put that on me. She said it's pretty instant, so maybe I'll use the sunscreen or the sun lotion stuff. So I stopped at Macy's at the time. I don't know if they're still out there. And I told her my wife is looking for like a suntan lotion stuff I'm supposed to get for her. So she gave it to me. So I go into, honest to God, I go into a Burger King parking lot. I go into the men's room, take off my pants, and I put all this lotion all over my legs, right? Walk back out the car in my underwear. And I'm driving down the road,
What, did you just say you walk back to your car in your underwear?
Yeah, there's a side entrance to Burger King. There's not a lot of old folks sitting around, so...
Uh-huh.
So I'm driving down the road, and the stuff says it's pretty instant. So like every few minutes, I'm looking down at my legs, and I see nothing, right? So I'm getting mad now. Like this stuff ain't working, man. So about another hour and a half in the trip, I stop. I get out again. I hit my legs again. This time a little bit harder, and and priding myself, the floor man that I am, that I'm putting it on perfect. I don't have any streaks, because I'm doing everything nice and uniform.
So now we're driving around in our underwear now while you're rubbing yourself down.
Yes, the whole trip.
Okay.
It's about 5 or 6 hours in my underwear.
Mm-hmm.
And I still see very little results, so I'm a little upset about it. So I wake up in the morning. From my legs down, I look like I've toiled in the coffee fields in Peru my whole life. And from the waist up, I look like an Irish guy that's never seen the sun. So now, what kind of freak would look like this? I can't wear shorts now because nobody's that tan that's that naturally white. Nobody has legs like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I couldn't even wear shorts. I was walking around like, with long pants and long shirt. And it's a curse. So sunscreen's not usually an issue in the floor trade, but
So you're the guy at the beach wearing the long pants. That's all right. No problem.
I know my limitations.
And believe it or not, I have a story that goes with that. I was doing these floors in a hair salon, and at the hair salon, they did spray tans. And I was telling the guy who owns it, I go, yeah, my daughter's thinking of getting that done for her prom. So the guy says, well, let me show you how easy it is. So he does one of my arms. So we started laughing, and I said, all right, well, he goes, why don't we do your head and your other arm? I said, oh, okay, great. So he does my head and my other arm. I go home, and everybody is just dying laughing because I've never had a tan in my life. I'm either white or red. That's it. No tan.
It's a Boston tan.
It's a Boston tan, right. Well, the deal is these spray tans don't really work well on floor guys because that day I went to work, started getting a good sweat on, and I got a bunch of sawdust on me, and I start rubbing it. I look like Nicholson in Batman when he was rubbing his makeup off. It was pretty it was pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not for us, Rob.
Yeah.
All right.
What about stretching? You ever do any stretching? Actually, if I was going to run the edger, I would try to stretch out. A professional athlete, he stretches for hours before a game, and I don't think any professional athlete works as hard as a guy who's running an edger for 8 or 10 hours. So stretching, I can see you in your yoga pants or whatever.
Yeah,
hopefully covering up those legs.
Yes. No, you know what? I do think it's important, but no, we didn't. My wife goes to yoga and she does all that, and I wish I could. I don't. I got nothing bad to say about it. I actually think it's very healthy for you. I think stretching would have been. I mean, now, I can't stretch. I can't. It's not in the cards anymore. But no, I think it's very important. All that stuff that we used to, as growing up, thinking now you don't need to do that. Wait, just go to work. You don't worry about it. Just
Right.
It's important to take care of yourself, man. And stretching is a big deal. Look at how many guys have back problems in this trade, right? And you're going from a cold van into a house and start bending and picking up tools already without stretching. It's just, it doesn't make sense. So the few minutes that it takes, I think, is I mean, like I said, we've made every mistake in the book when it comes to this part of it, and
that's why we should be doing take care of your body.
Yes.
Who are you going to listen to?
Exactly.
Like you said, some guy who's an Adonis and been perfect all his life.
No.
Or worn out, broke down.
Yes.
Yeah. Podcast guys.
Yeah.
That's what we're regulated to now is podcasts.
Yeah. Let's see here.
What about your head? What about?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we've been talking about your body and everything, but
yeah.
What about mental?
Running a business is a tough job, a really tough job. Look at the times when the industry went through like 2007 when things were slow and all that kind of stuff. And if you look at the amount of stress owning a business, from the scheduling, the bills, the paying your distributor, paying your employees, and all the thing that goes into owning a business is on a good day very stressful. So we talk about managing depression or anxiety, and those issues is real. And we joke around a little bit here, but this is a very real thing. And especially as guys get older, what have you, and not reaching out and keeping everything inside, I do think, in all seriousness, it's very important. Guys are great at doing floors. Guys are good at doing whatever, and there's guys that are, and women and men that know how to talk about this too. So I do think that there's no shame in getting some mental health help. So no different than breaking an
I
arm.
didn't mean going to a shrink. I meant, playing tennis or, blowing some steam off. I, I didn't think that people had to go out and seek professional help. Wasn't where I was going. But
Yeah, but
I
you know
guess
what?
in your case, you know what? In your case, it worked good. I mean, it worked out for you.
Well, I just buy fishing equipment, but but no, I do think it's real. I think people need to take care of your mental health and your physical health. So and sometimes I think you need taking some downtime, reboot, do something else for a while, and get re-energized and what have you. I think is all good good for you. So
I don't know. That one I don't know about.
No?
It seemed like if I was going to take a week's vacation, the worst part of a week's vacation was the 3 weeks before and the 3 weeks after being away for 1 week. So I was never crazy about the downtime.
I told you about my wife in yoga, and she got on a health kick one time when we lived in California, and we lived about, I don't know, a couple hours from Napa. And she wanted me to do this. It was like a yoga stretching thing. Then you go to these mud bath stuff, and then it was like a healthy lunch, like a resort. And it's so not me, man. It's not even remotely me. But it's my wife, and
I can see you in the bathrobe, the slippers.
Well,
Drinking some cucumber water. Definitely, I see you.
I
you
wish
were born to, especially now that you're a corporate stooge.
Yeah. Well,
you're probably doing that all the time now.
You ever been to a mud bath?
Never.
All right. Well, don't. Because when we got into the mud bath place, they separate, the women go one way and the men go. I thought we'd have our own mud bath, but it's like the women go one way and the men go the other way, and then you take off all your clothes, and they say, here's your mud bath. So, and I'm the first mud bath in the room. So, I'm mad at my wife. I can't wait to see her again to tell her how mad I am at her for getting me into this. And the thing is, I couldn't sink down into the mud. For whatever it is, I couldn't get into the mud. So my wife...
Fat floats.
Yes, that's floats. It. Laying on top of the mud. And everybody else that came by had to go by me first. So you go from the mud room to the showers. And then from the showers, you go to to get a massage. So I'm in there and I take the shower, I get all the mud out of everywhere. I go for the massage. Now I don't have a towel now. And I'm so mad. I'm seething mad. Why would they not give me a towel? I mean, this is crazy. This is not me. So I'm getting a massage, and the whole time I'm there, I'm going, I'm so mad at my wife. And then I leave the massage room to leave, and I look at every other side. I'm the only one that don't have a towel. Like every other dude getting a massage. So I want to go back into my massage guy. I go, dude, that's not me. So what should have been a nice romantic getaway weekend in fact, it scarred me so much that I had to go past that same Napa place to go fishing at Clear Lake with my buddy, and I would go 20 miles around that little town so I didn't have to go past that health resort anymore.
I'm surprised you and your buddy didn't stop in for a mud bath. What exactly does a mud bath do for you?
My buddy never
Seriously,
knows.
No, I'm dead serious.
Well, I'll tell you in a minute.
What does the mud do?
Well, first of all, I never told my buddy.
Okay.
He still doesn't know. And I don't know what a mud bath is supposed to do.
So it's great that you told everybody this. People are going to love this podcast between your nakedness in the mud and walking around your underwear and rubbing yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to need a couple of drinks after this one. I'd like to apologize to everybody for this.
So there you go. There's we could talk about not wearing rings when you're running equipment so it doesn't get cut up into the saw blades or your hair protection, all these other type of things. But a lot of this is good common sense. But I still, your ears, your knees, and your back, you've got to protect them because as you get older,
and respirators
and
a
respirators,
respirator.
so important.
Yep.
So this has been another episode of On the Floors. I'm Wayne Highlander, National Sales Manager.
I'm Rob Johnson, Bona Training.
And stay tuned for another podcast.